Police at your door. Bailiffs demanding entry. A legal threat lands without warning. In that moment, who's actually on your side? This is Willoughby Genius Mark II, a legal protection platform that acts like your own personal legal team. Built on over 750,000 verified legal entries, spanning 50-plus countries, it delivers immediate, actionable guidance when it matters most. No appointments, no gatekeepers, no £300 an hour delays. Just clear, lawful direction in real time. It doesn't replace the law. It gives you direct access to it. Powered by advanced AI, Willoughby Genius Mark II verifies, prompts, and protects. Calmly, precisely, and without bias. It never forgets a statute. It never panics. And it's always available. Legal technology is moving fast. Those who understand it early will have choices. Those who don't will be managed by it. Willoughby Genius Mark II goes further than any barrister. It educates too. Know your rights. Act decisively. Take back control. Click on the link below and use LSB Pro for £5 off your first month's premium.
Hello and welcome to another LSB Film podcast with me, your host Chris Brooks. I hope everyone's well. Today we're heading into one of those conversations that sits right on the fault line between myth, map, memory, and what we're told is settled science. My guest is Larry Cyprus, returning to pick up where we left off last time. The landscape zodiacs that Larry says are spread out across Britain, with Glastonbury being one of the most famous examples, but in this episode we go further. Larry argues that not just zodiac symbolism etched into the land, it's storytelling built into geography, shapes that resemble figures from folklore and religion, from Banbury's Fine Lady upon a white horse to St George and the Dragon near Canterbury. And then things get properly wild. Larry lays out his case for what he believes to be petrified biology on a monumental scale. Giants in the landscape, mining sites that he claims are actually rib cages and skulls, and the controversial idea that quarries target the pineal gland for crystalline deposits. Alongside that we get into the mud floods, repeating timelines in history, and the bigger question that makes or breaks all of this: how would you ever prove it? I'll be playing devil's advocate. Larry will be bringing the maps, the overlays and theory, and you can decide where you land. Pattern recognition or hidden architecture in plain sight. Let's go.
Are you concerned about all this corruption being rebranded as conspiracy theory? Well, don't you worry. Sit back and relax and join in the conversation with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
So yes, it's a lovely warm welcome, Larry Cyprus.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah. So I think if any of your viewers do remember me from last time I was on, we were talking about the landscape, the zodiacs in the landscape, and how these are, in fact, all over the UK. And I've just lost me. Here we are. If I click into this and we share. Right, so we were saying how we have the Glastonbury Zodiac, which you can see on the right of the image here, and this is number 25 on the images down here, I believe. Mm-hmm. And there are actually over 90 landscape zodiacs within Great Britain. There's 60, I think, marked on this particular image. What I wanted to discuss with you today is how we actually find a lot more artistry, shall we say, within the landscape of England. Now, this was brought to my attention by Sally Jane Delaney, who has the biogeology, I think it is, channel on YouTube. And when I started looking at this, what caught my eye is she had a little video that took us to Banbury. Now, if I get this right, this will be amazing. When there's more than just zodiacs within the landscape. There's actually a lot of artistry. Now, Sally Jane Delaney believes most of it is actually biology, and I'm not fully going to agree with that. Some of it is biology, and I think this is where you wanted to go to with this conversation today, is towards the biology, the petrified biology that we find in the landscape. But first of all, what I'm going to show you now is a reconstruction of one of Sally's videos. And this is recorded on my phone yesterday evening. But as you can see here, we're looking at United Kingdom. And if I now basically, we're going to zoom into Banbury. Now, the nursery rhyme says, go to Banbury Cross to see a fine lady upon a white horse, or hoss, if you want to do the rhyming version. And so basically, if we turn the map around, what we actually see in the landscape is a fine lady upon a white horse. Now, the image to the side here is showing that the foreleg is raised, and that's the actual position of the leg in the landscape. You will see this in a moment. There is actually a statue in Banbury, at Banbury Cross, of the fine lady, and I believe that the foreleg is raised. They're telling you, because they have to tell you. Okay, so now you should have a blank kind of image. Now, this is an image on Google Earth on the phone app. Now, what we have here is the horse's head is just here, and I think is it body coat, diddy coat, just I can't remember which one it is now. It was on the previous video. Is her head, and the foreleg of the horse is down here. It's actually cut through by the M40, cuts through the leg. But if you put the time lapse on the app, so this is the time lapse running, and you can just see that the head and the foreleg and the body doesn't change within the image so much. And then I overlay with some images I've put together just for this demonstration. And now you can see we've got the fine lady upon the white horse. And at the moment, I've only really sort of mapped out fully the forelegs and the head, and then I got distracted. And as you can see, and as you pointed out when I showed you this earlier, Chris, we've actually got a pentagram at the top, which is the local airfield.
Yeah.
So,
or is it not a pentagram, but the compass from Freemasonry?
Well, the Freemasonry compass,
the
square and compass is actually it's the vertebrae. It's your vertebrae. If you look at your cross section of your back and a vertebrae, you actually see the square and compass. But these angles, and we'll come back to this because I've been talking with our mutual friend Andy Munro and the electroculture and his pyramids, and I'm going to be looking at that more in the future, because the pyramid is actually drawing upon cosmic energy. Now, this cosmic energy can be seen within the solar system, but we'll leave that for the moment. Now, like I say, this one is Banbury Cross. Now, in Canterbury, what we have in Canterbury is St. George and the Dragon, and there's a quarry just north of Canterbury. Right, so this is Canterbury, and here we have a quarry. Now, this is the head of St. George, and we have the horse. His horse's head is here, and the foreleg of the horse comes down here, and there's another leg. I don't know whether that one's his leg and the dragon is actually then down in the landscape down here, and I can't remember the name of the road, which road it is. It'll be a 2, won't it? It'll probably be A2 or A20. I can't remember which. And it comes through in a straight line almost, but it actually then diverts off. This is then his lance, and he's lancing the dragon in the landscape. Now, the fact that they are quarrying this bit up here leads me to believe that this is actual biology. This quarry is the head of, in this particular image, it's St. George, and they quarry the heads of the giants in the landscape. And this might be a bit of a stretch for a lot of people initially. And because, like I say, because they're quarrying it, that's why I believe this one is biology, whereas I think Banbury Cross and the lady there, I believe, is just artwork. It's a doodling of a giant. If we go to, we'll leave it on here for now. This might hurt some people's eyes. We're just going to zoom off to Land's End now. Now, this is St Agnes down in Cornwall at that point, aren't we? And this is Trevanant's Cove. Now, 2 years ago, I took some friends down here to St Agnes. I picked them up on the way down. So this was like a 6-hour drive from where I am, just to go and see. And what I wanted to go and see was this particular bit here, just the headland. This is Trevanant's Cove. It's very popular with surfers. And if I zoom in a little bit on here, what we've got here is actually, this is a mandible, and this is the skull of a giant, and his vertebrae are in situ. He's got his head thrown back. This skull is approximately 90 meters from his chin to his crown, which then equates to around about 600 meters. This is, I believe, petrified biology. This is a petrified giant.
He's looking right.
He's looking over the sea. Yeah, he's throwing his head back. His backbone becomes, and this is his rib cage down here, and then his legs are curled up, and his ankles and his sort of up here. The legs, the thigh bone and the leg bone and all that, they're all there. This is his rib cage, which is heavily mined. There's mines there. They've been digging the minerals out. He hasn't had his pineal gland removed. And this is why they quarry the head. They're actually quarrying it for the pineal gland within the head, because you get calcified crystals within the pineal gland. Now, if you polish these, highly polish these, it's said that you make like a crystal ball. And if you look into the crystal ball made by these crystals, you can see the future. And this is what I believe is going on, why they are mining. If you go and have a look at a lot of open cast mines within the UK, and you zoom out again, you'll see like there's a body, and that they're working on the head, and they're digging out the pineal gland.
So what was there before the bodies?
Well, before the bodies, well, they're lying on the ground, aren't they?
Because, yeah, but that'd be like you and I living on a...
We live on the shoulders of giants. Well, we live on the bodies of giants.
So what do they live on?
They lived on the Albion Zodiac. Right, now...
That's all I'm struggling to get my head around. That obviously we live on the land. Well, if they're the land, what did they live on?
Well, they lived on what was underneath. So we have here this landscape. This is made up of the Zodiac. So this for me all started when I was watching a video by Paul Cook, and he was saying the White Cliffs of Dover were basically walls, and they had flying buttresses up the side of the walls, and you go look at it and you can see the brickwork. So I thought, well, that must be a design. And then someone showed me this, and now this is Graham K. Griffiths' work to this point that I'm showing on the screen now, and I've extended that into the Isle of Man, into Ireland, Southern Ireland. I've even extended it into Scotland, which I think we did cover at the end of your the last talk we had together. And this Cancer is the arc in the Glastonbury Zodiac. So this is the arc, and the landscape is the covenant. It's the contract with God. He promised us land. So the land itself is the covenant, and we are then in the arc of the covenant. When you start thinking about the words and things like this, so the landscape itself of England and Wales and Ireland and Scotland is actually, well, we'd say man-made. It's manufactured by the giants. Now, what's happened is that these giants, these petrified giants that we're looking at, have, to escape the rising waters or whatever, have climbed up onto, because if you think the walls, the cliffs around the British Isles, I always had this romantic view of the land when I was a kid. You know, you know how you get like the desert island, and it slopes gently up from the sea, and there's a little hill in the middle, and then it falls away. Well, that's not the case. If you go and look at the coastline, I mean, North Yorkshire's coastline is a pretty good place to start, or any coastline really. You've got at least fairly close to the shoreline, you have at least a rise of 100 foot. You have cliffs, and these are the walls. These are the edge of the design that was the covenant, the land that's been manufactured. And the sand is just deposited against the wall with the rising waters. You know, there's evidence of the floods. Interesting. I was watching a video last night. Basically, they've repeated the scenario. So if you go and have a look at the rule of the Roman empires and things like that, from about 1300 to present day is one timeline. And what they've done is they've then taken from the 1300s, they've rewound it about 700 or 800 years. And if you go and look at, you compare the history from 800 years prior against the 1300s to the 500s or whatever it is, if you compare the two side by side, you know, the emperors all have the same lifespan, the popes all have the same lifespan. It's got, oh yeah, you see it. It's like 800 years of repeated history. And what they've done is they've repeated the history from the 1300s back because they don't want you to know what really happened in that 800 period prior to that. They're just making it up. And the whole, I mean, what I'm saying here is the whole of geology is just a theory. And in fact, they do tell you, if you actually go and look at it, they will tell you that everything is just a theory and it's not proven fact. And when you find the chinks in the truth, it just reveals itself. So anyway, so the giants are escaping the rising waters to get onto the landscape, which is the covenant from God. It's the land from God. So what's happened is, and you hear people talking of mud flood. Now, what I believe the mud flood was isn't actually a mud flood. What it is I believe, is that if you leave something out in the garden, if you don't touch the garden for years, literally on end, what will happen? The grass will grow and decay and grow and decay each year, and you will build up layers of rotten
Sediment.
You build up sediment from the rotting vegetation. So the mud flood itself, I would say, the deposits of sediment are in fact just petrified plants. The petrification of the giants themselves, petrification happens when you have a lack of oxygen, and it can happen very quickly. I mean, there's sort of saying Mount St. Helens, there's trees falling into the bottom of the lake, and they've already petrified. You know, it doesn't take thousands or millions of years like you've been told. It can happen literally within 12 months. So these giants, I don't think, are that old.
So basically, like all these giants then paved the way for like these mountain ranges that look like trees which have been cut down.
Yeah,
And there's these
absolutely.
rocks that look like elephants.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just
Montgo
us.
in Spain there. You know, that, I mean, if you don't see that as an elephant, and you go and look at Stellium 7's work on that one, and I mean, they've even mapped, you know, the ear. They've sent computers in to map it out, and it's the perfect. The cave is the ear of the elephant. It's got the cochleal, the eardrum in there. You know, and this guy crawls into it and crawls around it, and it's going in ever decreasing circles. And he's like, yeah, it's in an eardrum. If you can't see it, and I mean, here on this map of, you know, England, we've got the Christ on the cross. He's 48 miles tall from the top of his head to his toe. It's 48 miles. You know, you've got Crossfell in the middle, and that's it's actually the heart. It's a petrified heart. So it's like, well, is that biology or is it geology? It's.
So are you saying Christ was a giant?
I think. Now, I would speculate that actually he didn't even live on this planet. This landscape, the Zodiac, the religion, all religion. I mean, Christ on the cross is actually Aries. So Aries is holding up, and you see this if you go in like a Church of England, you will probably find Aries, the ram, holding up, or they call it the Lamb of God, you know, but he's holding up a cross, and it's usually got is a St. George's cross hanging from it. Now, St. George's cross is actually the shroud. The red cross itself represents the blood of Christ on the white shroud. Yeah. So he's there. He's in that cross formation. That's why you get a red cross in the middle of the white flag. It's his blood. I mean, if you go and look up like St. George online and Google it, they'll say that his shield was a representation of Christ, or showed that he was in the name of Christ or in the name of God. But if you ask it what the cross represents, and they've got, well, it doesn't represent anything. It's like, well, you just told me it represents Christ. How does it represent Christ if it doesn't represent anything? But what it is it's the shroud. The white sheet of the shroud with the blood of Christ in the cross formation is your St. George's cross. That's what it is. And I'd say St. George there is down in Canterbury, which is the tail end of Capricorn, and on the hand.
Because wasn't St. George, wasn't he? He wasn't English, was he? He was something like
the one that to tell you is Turkish, I believe.
Is he Turkish? I can't remember if it was Turkish or Portuguese
or Persian. Turkish or Persian is basically what they say. But this is just like I said about Rome just earlier. You know how they repeat the history and they fit it into the past. So they've made it all up. You can only go to 75 years back is first-hand knowledge. About 125. Once you get past 125, so 125 to 70 years back is hearsay. Once you go past that, you've got nobody's recollection, and you don't have the conversation with your grandparents of, oh, what was the political situation when you were a child, granddad? You know, you don't have that conversation. Once you go past 125 years, you've lost touch with reality, really. But yeah, so all the saints are just regurgitation of everything else, or they're the demigods. I mean, I was reading a passage from the Bible, the opening passages of the Bible. I think it was might have been verse 16, right at the start of the Bible. God made us in our image. Yeah, it's like, hang on, is there only one God, or is there more than one God? They're making us in our image. Does that mean we're in the image of God, or we're just in the image of ourselves, or is it the image of the gods?
I heard that we got hijacked. Our species got hijacked, and so we're actually like the product of an alien byproduct, an alien mix hybrid.
So if you go into Sumerian mythology, you have the Nephilim, and basically in the Sumerian text, they basically designed us, and they made a few mistakes first time, and you know they actually detail the mistakes that they made, and then before they came to us, but we were in their image. We were here to mine the gold for them, or the minerals they were raping the planet basically, and rather than do it themselves, because pillaging. So if you think their gods or their leaders, presumably larger, bigger beings, we're getting them to do the work, and they thought, bugger this, we'll make something to do the work for us, and we're the product of that. So according to the Sumerians, you know, I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong.
And
I can only speculate
we're
because
still
we don't
here,
know.
and yet they're not, and now we're outsourcing that to AI.
Well, there you go. But you see, AI is an interesting subject, really, because if you have AI doing all the work and you've got robotic arms that can do the surgery, if you control that by the AI, you know, what are we going to do?
Well,
and the answer is
the thing that humanity is fantastic at, and this is something that the demons or the baddies, whatever you want to call them, what they can't do is that we are fantastic at creation.
Absolutely.
They can mimic.
Yes.
But they cannot create.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and this is why you've got a smart meter in your house.
Well,
They're recording your biometric data so that they can predict you in an effort to produce an artificial intelligence that has free thought. But it doesn't. It's only predicted.
But that's an oxymoron, though, as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's like British citizen.
You can't have it's either intelligent or it's artificial. You can be
absolutely
both.
Yeah. Well, like I say, sovereign citizen. There's an oxymoron for you. The citizen's just a moron, but a sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. Now, let me see if I can. What I might do is actually see if one of my YouTube videos, because it explains what I've just been saying kind of rather well. So this is actually part of a presentation that I did, again, 2 years ago, 2024. So this is this front image here of the skull on its side, right in the middle, where between the A and the G, how to find a giant there. There's 3 people stood there. They're 6 foot tall, 2 of them are. and the one in the middle's 5'5", But that's them stood. This is St Agnes, Trevanant's Cove, and we've climbed all over it. We've walked along the mandible and everything. So this is basically how you find it on Google Maps now. In fact, I'll turn the sound off because you don't need to hear it, because I can just comment over it. Basically, if you get Google Maps open, this is Sally's channel at the bottom, at Biogeology, and you zoom in, and we're using like the satellite view, what they call the satellite view, which is basically photo composite, taken from aeroplanes, and then they just create this giant picture. So as I say, St Agnes, and we go up to Trevanant's Cove, and this will actually overlay then the skull so you can see it better as well. So there's the skull, and they tell you that that's a quarry. Now that quarry has been marked on the map for the last 200 years. Nobody's actually dug anything out of it because there is no sign of any digging. It's not a quarry, it's his mouth, basically. And there you go. I'm overlaying an image of the skull so you can see it better. And you can actually hire this house at the end of here. You can hire it and wake up every morning to look down his mouth if you want. So I'm now going to take you to the largest one we've found on the landmass that we've identified. So if you are at all up with like any of the mythology of Ireland, we have Phil McCool, the giant McCool anyway. He builds the Giant's Causeway and to go over to Scotland to visit the giant over there, to sort of like put up a fight with him, have a fight, pick a fight with him. And he goes off, and this giant is called Benadonna, the Scottish giant. And he gets over to Scotland, finds out he's absolutely ginormous, and comes hightailing it home and sort of kicks over the Giant's Causeway that he's built. So this, I'm going to now show you Benadonna, and we're going to zoom in here, and we're going up to Fort William, which is just, and then this is Ben Nevis here, not Benadonna, Ben Nevis. And this is his chin. And now I've put this into a different relief. On the map, it tells you how, on this little video clip, it tells you how I've done it. But this is Ben Nevis. This is his bottom teeth. This is his top lip. This is his left eye. And that's his right eye is over there. And his nose would be somewhere in the middle. Now, from this point here, which is his chin to the top, and I've overlaid it here. This is absolutely fantastic. I found this online. This is it's actually a spirits bottle that you get like in some cheap spirit shops of a skull. And a pathology student has actually taken it and built a face. He's put all the muscle structure on and stuff, but it was just perfectly lined up with what I'm saying is here. So this is Ben Nevis. You'll see as this disappears again, his front teeth are missing. There's 3 teeth missing. And then you see his top lip and his eyes up here and this eye's down here. It's actually pretty good orientation on that picture as well.
No, fade it out. Okay, yeah. I would never have seen it without the picture.
No,
without
no, so from this chin to his crown is about 15 or 16 kilometers. So that makes him around about 100 kilometers tall, which is about 60 miles. And you can watch that to your heart's content on my channel. Please do. Might get my numbers up. Other giants in Scotland, we have. This is Trapan Law. This is just to the west of Edinburgh. It's a fantastic picture. I've been there. Now, what I'm saying is here is that this is the forehead. There's an ear here. There's actually a little pond where the ear hole should be. So the eye would be here, and we're coming down to the bottom. The chin would sort of be here. Now, again, this is Petrified Giant, and then all this landscape around it is built up. It's grown and decayed biomatter plants. So this is what your mud flood is. Now, I revealed the wrong picture first. Now, this image is then like that. I've overlaid a little bit of hair and an eye, so you can kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. And round the back, and to prove the giant status again, round the back of here, the main road that drives past this is behind this, from where this image is taken. And there's a quarry round at the back, and they've been in and they've taken out the pineal gland again. This is a highly sought after crystal, and there's so
But
many
how
of these.
much of see, I love all this, and it fascinates me. But as humans, we are prone to spot faces.
Yes, we are. Now you're going back to your miseducation again.
Mm.
Like I say, on all my videos, I state it quite clearly on majority, 99% of my videos. I basically say, I'm here to show you the truth because what you've been taught and the way you've been taught it is basically designed for you to disbelieve the truth, the evidence that is in front of your eyes. And it's basically you've been told that seeing faces in the rock face or on the land is just your imagination. Give over. Stop questioning my authority. Stop questioning my knowledge. And like Colin says, you ask somebody where they got their knowledge from. They say, well, it was in a book. Who wrote the book? Well, I don't know. Who let you read? Who let you read the book? They're not going to let you read information that's going to be detrimental.
I hear what you're saying, but I still think that we do. I mean, like, I can look at my Artex.
Oh yes,
and
yeah. I mean, you can look at.
I can look at a piece of bark and I can see a face.
Yes, you can. You can, but
that's without authority telling me.
But you're then dismissing the fact. If you see a person walking down the street, you don't think, "Oh, that's a tree."
No, but what I'm saying is,
that as a person.
How do you? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
No.
But
I understand.
How can you
differentiate?
How can you say, right, this is and here's the proof? We've taken studies of this rock, and
there is a company in Sweden that says that they can actually extract the DNA out of the fossil.
Right. This is what I'm getting at.
I've asked them. I've said I've got a fossil. We extract the DNA. They haven't responded because they don't want to be. They don't want to open this can of worms.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? And until that kind of proof can be sought.
Yes.
As fascinating as it is.
Yes.
It is just a theory like every other theory that's.
Yes, but.
I'm not knocking. I'm not trying to knock what you're doing at all.
Oh, I know that.
But I am just trying to, from a normie's perspective, I'm just trying to get my head around. Okay, what you're saying is great, and it all fits in, and it all looks convincing, and it sounds convincing. But how do we actually prove it?
You'd struggle to actually prove it unless you can actually do what they say they can do, or you can go back in time. Well, they reckon that they can extract the DNA. I mean, you go and listen to Mud Fossil University. He says, "Oh yeah, I've sent this rock in. I've got the DNA. Where have you sent it to? Where are they getting it from? And where's your evidence, mate?" I say that to him, and I know you're now saying that to me, but
I'm saying it to you because somebody has to play devil's advocate.
They do, yes, indeed, yes, I know that. And you're quite right.
I mean, I look at these. I've said earlier on. I can't remember if it was before or after I press record, but you look at these big mountains that look like petrified tree stumps.
Yeah. So you've got the one in South Africa, haven't you? And it's actually got the axe next to it as well.
That's right. Yeah, in the top.
Let's see if I can call that up for you. We're on here.
So yeah, it's not that I don't buy into it because I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I think for me the evidence is clear.
Excuse the pun. I'd like something a little bit more concrete.
yeah. I mean, yeah. For me, the evidence is clear. I know what I believe I know what I'm looking at, and when you start seeing all the rest of them,
See, I can see what you're seeing. Especially when you overlay it, I can see. I understand what you're saying. The concept, which is hard for most people to probably grasp, is the fact that that's actually supposed to be something that was actually living alive, that gigantically big. Because it's just not in our perception to understand.
We've still got 2 more to go in terms of steps up. You think 60 miles tall is
the
big.
Earth is actually the ball bag of a descendant of
Mother Earth is petrified biology. And I think at the end of the last talk I did show you. Just see if I've got that image. Probably got it on the back of the thing. In fact, I have. I've got it. I'll pop it up anyway. Oh. I'll give you this one. Let me show you this one. Here's a bit of fun for you, because I don't know whether this is biology or not. I mean, I have a feeling that it's not biology, this one I'm going to show you. But this is on north of England coast. I forget where it is now, but can you see the alligator?
Yes, I can now.
Yeah. It's just north of it's near Scarborough. I think it's north of Flamborough Head. But there's a little town you can go into, and you can go and get an ice cream and sit on the bench, and you look out, and everyone looks at the sea, and everyone sees this crocodile or alligator at the end of the thing.
But is it only from the angle, though? If you was to go out on a boat and go around,
It does look slightly different from other angles, yes.
Yeah.
Like I say, I can't confirm whether that one. But again, if Banbury Cross, is a lady, if that's artwork, then what's to say that this isn't artwork? And then the argument then becomes, what's to say that?
Well, this kind of goes back to what I was saying, though. That
yes,
you look at a cloud. You can look at clouds, and you can make out. Oh, that one looks like a dog. Oh, that one looks like a bear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We see that all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying. And I think at the end of your last program, the last interview we did, this particular image is, I've got the Union flag on there, and I didn't really want to put that on there. I've actually redrawn the top end of this. This is a bar bird. Scotland is a bar bird. These are found in the tombs of the pharaohs, and they take the spirit of the pharaoh to the other side. And I've got an interesting theory on that one as well. And then the Shetland Isles and these islands up here, Hebrides, no, that's them. The Shetlands, yeah. That is actually a feather in the hat of the bar bird. And now the feather in Egyptian denotes law and order and justice. And of course, you weigh yourself against the feather to know whether your spirit can go to the other side. Iceland over here, I think, represents the portal to the other side in this image. And so the bar bird has got to take the pharaoh. And now this is the Faroe Islands here. And this is the uraeus. The uraeus is the snake crown on the front of, like, the Egyptian pharaohs. That's the uraeus.
Should we not be looking at the bit around it? That's it, the bit that you're circulating.
Well, yeah.
Now.
So I'm just telling you what these bits are first. I'm leading people into this, because you won't see it unless you know, kind of thing. So this is the uraeus, which goes on the front of his hat here, would normally be. This then is this hat. It's the same hat. This is the hat, the unified crown of Egypt. So you have the red crown is Upper Egypt, or the south, and the white crown is Lower Egypt, which is the north. And that's there, basically, which means that this bit is a skull. Now it's facing sideways. This is his mandible here, chin. This is his eye socket here. This is the back of the skull here. This then is his rib cage. And then his legs would be off the bottom here. So Benidorm, or Ben Nevis, I'm saying is like 100 kilometers tall. This guy, from the top of his crown to where his feet should be, is 2,500 kilometers. This island over here that we live on this Ark of the Covenant, is in memory of this guy here. This is his memory. This is his dedicated to him. So dedicated to God. So this is the person we're referring to as God, I feel. Although he's not the God, he is a God because he's bigger than us. And the bar bird is going to take his soul through the portal to the next world. Now, I was, and I can't remember if I've got that far, going to do you a picture of Mother Earth.
Have you done anything on what Epstein Island, the shape of that is? Or is that a man-made one? Or
yeah, I mean, Stephen J.D. Beatty looks at that, doesn't he? I've not studied that too much. Okay. Can you see that now?
Mm-hmm.
Two images side by side.
Yep.
We've got this lady here in the lotus position, and we've got this lady here in the lotus position. So
one eye. Yeah, I can see it now.
yeah. So this is her knees, effectively. Like on here, this is her knees. She's sat cross-legged, as it were. And then, so this is her body. This will be a breast here sticking out, and the Great Lakes become the mammary glands. The Amazon basin on the way I interpret this image, is her eye. So you've got a nose, and then that's the base of her skull, and that's actually the Caribbean is her mandible, and it's come away. Her head seems to have departed from her body, which is a very symbolic thing, really. It's what they keep doing to us, don't they? They keep decapitating us. They declare us lost at sea and remove our capital. So they decapitate us. But this also happened to Queen Isis. She was decapitated, and then her son stuck her head back on after chopping it off. But then that's Anglesey again. Anglesey is decapitated from Wales. Wales is the body, Anglesey is the head. There's a lot of symbology here. There's a lot of repeats. Now,
I'll tell you what I want to know. Why are they always on their side?
That's good point. Now, we often see when we're looking at burial in the ground, they lay them on the side. Now, whether this is to face the setting sun or the rising sun, and so the spirit can go west. That's what they say on the top of the coffin lids in Egypt was go west, wasn't it? Basically. Generally, because this is like Sally Jane Delaney's pointed this one out to me again. And she has her eye here and there and slightly differently, and then the skin has slipped off. But basically, Sally's noticed that the majority of the females they lie and face to their right, and the males generally face to the left.
I just the only thing that's made me think that really because if you're doing a lotus position, how the fuck do you do a lotus position laying on your side?
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, and I know what you're saying. But yeah, well, in death, it's slightly different. I mean, in a lotus position, you are sitting upright. In death, they lay you down, but they generally lay you in, either towards the setting sun or the rising sun, depending on, presumably, that depends on whether you're male or female. I don't know.
Who knows these days?
But it's, binary. Everything's binary, mate. It's all ones and zeros. 1, 0. Yeah. Just as Colin kindly point out to you every time you talk to him. Yeah.
I love Colin.
But yeah, so you're laid on your side. But yeah, it's generally, as I say, they lay. Now, you might, if you start talking with Colin, now Colin started talking about the feminine and the masculine side of your brain. So do we have a feminine and a masculine side of your body too? So are we lying on our side so that so in this case, Gaia here, she's lying on her right-hand side. Is that her feminine side? And when they lie, a fella on the the left-hand side, they're laying him on his masculine side. So his masculinity is, his masculine side of him is in contact with the earth.
To be fair, that's probably just more the more photogenic side. Yeah, this is my better side. Take this. So, well, she's a woman after all.
Yeah.
See, I'm lucky in some respects. I don't have a good side. It's all shit.
Oh, so where were we? Have I answered your question?
I can't remember what the question was.
Yeah, why are they on the side? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
but
right.
I would say, having said what I've just said, so it's your masculinity, or your masculine side or your feminine side in contact with the earth, Mother Earth. Yeah. We return to dust. The Bible says from dust back to dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Yeah. So that's why you're on the side. And that's my best explanation at this moment in time.
We'll go with that then.
Yeah. So
because I don't know enough to counter argue, so it was
so with the last image I had of Scotland, remember he had his hat on, so John O'Groats was at the top of the hat. So again, we've got this pointy hat. Now Sally says it's her hair, and it could well be her hair. This is so everything that I'm looking at sort of takes us back to Egyptian. So Egyptian mythology says that the earth was the water and the sky was the land. And the sky goddess was Nut, and she fell into love, or fell into the water. So she's come from the sky and landed in a pool of water, and they form the earth. So this is Nut, or in the Greek or Roman, it's Gaia. But this is your Mother Earth. Now, obviously, some people are going to say, well, there's bits missing. So the bit that's missing is down here. Now, this is China, or as Sally likes to call it, for China, or vagina. And here we have an umbilical cord, and then we have this landmass here. And if I get this right now,
that's just her shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Australia.
No, let me.
It's a beautiful part of the world.
Oh, and well, we're in here, aren't we? Yeah, let's call this one up. And here we go. This is one of Sally's posts. Oh.
So that's Australia on its side?
Yeah, so that's Australia. Oh. And she's put it next to the fetus to show you. So the face is here, or the head's here. Ayers Rock, or whatever they call it, is sort of the heart, where the heart would be. So it's around about there. But yeah, so this then becomes the umbilical cord coming out of the China, and then that is Australia. Now, I mentioned earlier about the portal to the other world
being Iceland.
That to me looks very similar to Iceland. It's not totally dissimilar. I'll put that over there. So yes, and this is what I was saying about the hat on Scotland. Ullapool is the eye there. You've got the Isle of Skye is the hand on the barbird, and it's holding up this wasp scepter, which is also what Orion's holding down here, which is Galloway Peninsula. It goes both north and south. That's Orion. He's upside down. We're saying that this then is the mandible, the jawbones come away from her head. So the eye there is that's the Amazon basin, and if you actually look at it on the maps, you'll end up seeing an eye shape in there. Lake Titicaca is over here, which will be the ear, according to Sally. Now, I'd say Sally has the eyes sort of like over here in the middle, and so basically says the skin has slipped, which then gives you this image or second image of a face, because the skin has slipped, which is not dissimilar to Europa, which is down here, which is on a side from this image. So this is Spain, this is the head, but the skin faces towards America, Portugal. Oh, it's that way, isn't it? So Portugal faces America, and that's where Christopher Columbus set off from. So I always say, well, it's the King and Queen of Portugal paid for Columbus to go over because they wanted to know what they were looking at. It's a good enough explanation, then. But then, yeah, so this is the face. It's actually facing the way. This is actually not a boot. It's actually an arm, and it's holding. Then Malta is probably.
So you had me up until you said that was an arm.
Sorry,
Italy's an arm. Me until you said it was an arm.
Yeah, well, it is because the body's there, and that's the arm. I don't think I've got an image to hand, but yeah,
because we were always told about the football boot kicking the ball, didn't we?
Yes, but the ball is, and it's not on this image of the bar bird. Is I've changed this slightly. He's actually holding an orb, like your coronation orb, which is a representation of life. Now, and he's holding it in that hand, and again, she's holding Malta, which is the representation of the orb. Oh no, it's not. It's Sicily, that one, isn't it? Malta's further down, slightly further down. No, Sicily is the orb. Sorry, yeah, which is your coronation orb, which is your symbol of life, which is actually an inverted dung beetle, and the wings on the back of the dung beetle. So when you get the orb, you get the cross across it, and then it splits in two. That's the representation of the wings of the dung beetle, and then you've got the cross above it, which is the god. So the dung beetle creates life from detritus, or the dust, or whatever you want to call it. And then the cross on the top of the coronation orb means it's life under God, under God's rule. So the coronation orb is a representation of sovereignty. And then the scepter that they hold is a representation of authority, because it's a poleaxe or a battle hammer. And basically, with one strike to the temple, you're a dead man. Just one strike, you're out. So basically, when whoever sits there, the king or the queen, they're holding the orb and the scepter. They're saying they have the right of life or death over the citizens, and they don't. Well, they do over the citizens, but like I say earlier, citizens moron.
Yeah.
And a sovereign citizen's an oxymoron, and a sovereign is above the crown. A sovereign man is above the crown. Crown only holds its authority.
King Charles is only the king of the United Kingdom.
He's king of nowhere.
It's king of a corporation.
He's king of the.
That's like being the king of Tesco's.
Yeah. It's the yeah. So that was Mother Earth, which is, like I say, the largest. You're not going to find a bigger giant than that. And then those that believe then that we're on a flat plane, a 2D legal fiction, would say that she's jumped over the ice wall. And those that believe that we're on a globe spinning in space, basically she's from somewhere else. Now, if you do zoom in on
the globe Earth, could be her womb, the womb that she's in.
The womb is basically going to be. Oops, where are you gone? Is in the Himalayas there, around China and Vietnam. That's your entrance there, because that's where the umbilical cord is still attached. So the womb's going to be sort of there.
No, I mean, she could be in her own womb.
Yes. Were you party to that conversation? Was that? I was having a word with Callie. It might have been Callie I said it to. So if everything is inverted, right, and if you read the first lines of the Bible, God created the heaven and the land, not the earth. He created the land. The land is your body. So the heavens, in your from your perspective, when you're in your mother's womb, is the placenta. So the heaven is your placenta because you're inside it, and the waters are inside. The firmament is inside. It's what you're born in, or you're created in, and the land is you within the womb, within the placenta. And so then, if you invert the whole globe theory idea, you then have Gaia is inside the womb, as it were, and that's her exit. That's her portal, her way out. That one, I came up with that the other night, yeah. But that's a really inverted view of the world. But we live in an inverted world.
We do indeed.
Oh look, there's Mount Go. Yeah, there's your elephant. He's got some tusks on there. So yeah, the ear hole is fantastic on that Stellium 7. Yeah, very fascinating, that one. Now that elephant is 5 miles from sort of like nose to tail, as it were, which would put at the same ratio that an elephant to a man today, that would put the man at 2 miles high.
Is it more likely to be a mammoth?
It could be a woolly mammoth. Or it could be an elephant. I mean, does a woolly mammoth actually exist? Have you ever seen one?
I've seen an elephant in a coat.
An elephant in a coat, or you've seen these made-up things that they put in museums to deceive you of the truth.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anyone that's seen one. What I was going to say, because I did contact Andy Munro, see if he was available, but I've been having a chat with Andy, your friend of mine, and he does the electroculture, and he was talking about the pyramids, and I was sat in on one of his Zoom calls the other day. I got invited by somebody who was actually on it, and said, "Oh, come to," and I said, "Oh, that's my mate Andy." So jumped on, and he started talking about the different pyramids, and they do different sides, and they're in different. Basically, they represent different tones, different scales, different pitches. The pitch of the pyramid is the pitch of the note. And I've been recently looking at it when I haven't been having my door knocked at by bailiffs unlawfully. But I've been looking at the architecture of the solar system, which is basically the architecture of the cosmos. Now, what we haven't said, but we've been alluding to here, is that everything is a fractal. So the cell, your DNA in your cells, is a fractal of your body. So, and then we are a fractal of God, essentially. And then, so if we look at ourselves, we then are a fractal of the universe. Everything is fractals, so you can sort of like keep enlarging or reducing in size and not lose detail. That's basically summing up a fractal. So anyway, I was looking at the solar system and how to express the differences in the orbits of the planets, and basically I figured out that we could use them as an expression of pi. And what it turned out was actually phi fit better, which is then your pyramid on a lot of the orbits, the variations between the orbits. So the pyramid is actually drawing on cosmic energy from the cosmos, which is what we're built from as well. And it's just getting expanding, really, in my head and out there, apparently, if you believe what you're told. But yeah, so the pyramids, and I've asked Andy to have a look into that, and whether he's going to have to go to his Italian friends with a bit more knowledge, and saying, well, if you change the pitch of your pyramid, are you getting a different energy? Are you actually drawing? Because you have to energize your soil, you have to energize your seed, you're energizing everything to put the life to put the life force, the cosmic force, back into the ground beneath our feet with his electroculture.
Well, I would say that if changing the pitch is ultimately changing the frequency, and every frequency has its own
Resonance
and own qualities that it brings, then
Absolutely.
then I would say the answer to that must be yes.
Yes. And I'm just wondering whether anyone's sort of done any work on that, or whether I'm sort of pioneering this thought. But
you'll have to let me know.
It's like I said, I did start looking at it just before Christmas, but then we had Christmas, and then I got a knock at the door, and then
we'll have to talk about that one on another time as
yes,
well. The knock on the door. But listen, it's we're coming up to about 2 hours. Thank you so much for your. Is there anything else that you wanted to bang out, or are you pretty much done?
No. I say, be nice to get my numbers up. If you want to see more of my work, you've got my YouTube channel is Our-Story 7721, or just
click in the link in the video description.
Albion Zodiac or Larry Cyprus, and you'll find me. And I usually come top of the list. But yeah, and I'm at Weekend Truth Festival this year in Wrexham. We're in Wrexham this year rather than Cumbria, so we're hopefully there on stage with the likes of, as you say, Vobes will be there, and Mark Byford, his bowler hat, and Victoria Rickson and the likes.
Nice.
So that should be good. It's in July. I think that's in July, mid-July this year, 17th to 19th.
I'm sure I'll be advertising it near the time. Well, thank you very much, Larry. I've really enjoyed listening to what you have to say. Chris. It's always very
and like
interesting.
You say, you have this. You don't know nothing, but you actually give us a platform, and I thank you for that too.
That's all right. It's my pleasure. No worries. There you go. I hope everyone watching's enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be nice, and I will see you in the next one. Look after yourselves. Bye for now.
Cheers now.